We'll give it a couple of jumps for good measure, guys. We're not scared here. When we build something, we're pretty sure it's not going to kill us, usually. This is going to be hard to even come close to how good these are. Someone in marketing in Tough Built needs to make sure that these channel locks cannot get sold in this position. They fit good enough. There's just a lot of things you're going to run into when you're on a scissor lift, and you're going to realize you're about to have a bad day. That's not great. That's putting extra leverage here. Hell yeah, they got a pinch point. That's a problem. You would have to understand how tight that is right now. I mean, it's just, this thing right now is getting so tight, it's hard to explain. Other than to do this. See, these things do not slip. That's 100 and call it 80 pounds. How hard do you want me to hit this? Here, we'll give you a good hit on this wood. It's not even rough. Like, it doesn't even try to cut you. Like, these things are just on the next level. I don't know if you ever knew that. Like, people talk about these all the time and they say they're good, but they don't really know how good they are. They just say it because everyone else said it. But no one's actually done crazy stuff with them that are on YouTube. Yeah, you can't beat these. If I was gonna use these in the field every day, I would take a grinder and I would have to remove that setting. I just could not do it. This is terrible. If these are in a package and someone's walking around Lowe's and they're wondering, are these going to feel nice? And they grab this, you're not going to sell them. So you have to fix the handle. All right, once we get that taken care of, Joshua Wilson mentioned something about a pinch point. I'm assuming he's talking here or maybe here. Okay, I can see where that might get a little bit interesting if you manage to get your finger in there. So these don't pinch at all. Actually, it's impossible to pinch. Someone in marketing in Tough Built needs to make sure that these channel locks cannot get sold in this position. They must be tie wrapped at least here, because when you grab these and they're way out here, this is very uncomfortable, and it's not a good feel at all. I grabbed these for half a second when I was picking them up at Lowe's, and I thought to myself, I'm putting these things back down right now. And before I did that, I slid them down just a little bit and I put them in my hand, and then I started realizing I could do things like this with them, which doesn't sound like very much, but being able to flip your channel locks around from one side to the other while you're working and turning your tools, if you're an electrician, you'll know what I'm talking about. And this video, this channel, man, it's for everybody, but it focuses on a lot of electrical. And I've got a ton of experience with this. I'm going to either endorse these tonight or not. And to find out, we're going to do what Knipex did. So back in 2010, I found Knipex myself. I didn't need any marketing. They barely existed. And I found them, and one of their marketing things was this like offset bar, and they wanted you to try out the grip on them. And I was sold immediately because everything else before that was channel lock, and it was terrible. It was fixed. There was no, it was just terrible, and it still is. But then these came out, and it was game changing. And one of the things they had you do was to put some weight on a bar and just spin it. Now, I've got this thing locked down here. This is a 3/4 pipe bender, and I've got it rigged to a 2x4 here. I've got a clamp so I can't die very much. And we're going to show you how strong this is by, I guess I'll just jump over here. Yeah, all right. So we'll give it a couple of jumps for good measure. Wants me to rotate the device. We'll give it a couple of jumps for good measure, guys. We're not scared here. When we build something, we're pretty sure it's not going to kill us, usually. And we had our safety Crocs on, so good to go. Now, there's a couple of things that we got to do to actually endorse these, because I'm a snob when it comes to channel locks. There's no better definition of how I feel about my electrical tools. This one right here These right here are just some of the best. You can flip them around. You can get them going in any way in your hand. If you realize one's facing the wrong way, you can flip it around. You can spin it around. They fall right in your hand. They feel really good the whole time you have them. You can spin them. You can do all kinds of things. And then if you're waiting for something to happen, you can bounce them. You can do this with them. This is very important to do. You didn't know this was important to do until you're an electrician and that's all you're carrying all day. And you're kind of thinking about what you're going to do. Are you going to run a pipe rack? This right there, that's an essential part of what good channel locks are. So you can spin these around, all the things, lock them down, get them how you want them. If you pick these up in the store and they are in this configuration, give them a second chance because they feel absolutely terrible. This is the worst thing that I've felt in a long time in this position. It's really, really bad. One spot down, which is still closed, is you're back in business. It's hard to explain, but when they drop, they catch. And this is coming from someone with a broken tendon. So you drop them, you can catch them. They throw around real nicely. They're well balanced. They have a really good grip. They feel like a warmer grip. Maybe my hands are cold. I don't know. They don't feel like they transfer the coldness of the tool through. It's hard to explain. I noticed that whenever I was trying to pick up some couplings and stuff in the aisle at Lowe's. But they feel different. So let's see here. Grab this, twist. Yeah, they come off. They're fairly narrow up here, which is really important. And these are narrow. They are more rounded, but they are very similar. You can't even see where this meets. Like this almost doesn't even look like it opens. The Knipex is just on that level. But they are considerably more expensive for a reason, though. I'm not dogging Knipex. This is going to be hard to even come close to how good these are, and we're going to find out with this bar. They don't. I wouldn't call these speed. My other thought was that this little back jaw back here might aid in something. It doesn't really aid in anything because by the time as you squeeze here, it gets forced off. As this closes, it kind of pushes it off. So any hope of these extra little teeth back here helping us out, it didn't happen. You can see here where it just wants to roll back to its comfort area. It just wants to roll like that. That's where it wants to go. When I squeeze here, it just kind of starts slipping. So I would say for 20 bucks versus what are these, 35? You're gonna buy these once, and until they get stolen, which they will, you're gonna have them for a lifetime. As far as tightening things, couplings, things like that. While we have this chucked in, let's see how they work as a, all right, so if we're reaching into a box, the angle, sometimes you can't get the luxury of having a nice angle. So the approach, see what the approach difference is. Maybe they're just longer, I'm not sure. Let's compare them to the larger Knipex. Yeah, there we go. So when these are clamped on, they seem similar with that respect. When we turn them upside down, this wasn't as easy. It could have been my left hand. I'm gonna go ahead and switch hands and see how easy that was to flip. This feels terrible. This setting has to go. It has to go. You can't manipulate. Maybe that's why they felt weird. But back to feeling good. This right here, this feels good. All right. Can we rock with them? Yeah, we can rock with them. How they adjust one-handed? They adjust pretty good. Yeah, they're functional. They're more functional than anything else I've tried versus Knipex, I'll tell you that. Looks like they go up to 1 inch. Bigger than 1 inch. The 1 inch setting. Let's see here. For 1 inch, they feel nice. It's just that jaw shape, man. They might actually feel better. No, they don't. They don't feel better. All in all, they're just not as good. They're more square so they don't roll in your hands as nicely. They're heavy somewhere. I don't know where they're heavy at. They feel kind of... It's hard to explain. It might be down here. And that's probably because they're open, but that feels terrible. Hang on. See how it slips? But if you put these in the back of the throat there, you get a lot more leverage, as you should, and they're actually usable. So maybe you can forget about using the front half of these, and maybe we need to think about the back half of these. Let me see here. And that right there, that's what you get. And they instantly fall off. No, they're just not, man, they're just not good. They're not good for pipe. They work. See where I slipped off? They work okay. Are these better than the Irwins? You know, I don't know if these are better than the Irwins anymore. That's why we're doing all these tests. You might say, well, you know, how many more things are you going to try? I'm probably more curious than you are. I honestly don't know what I want. My answer would be just get the Knipex, man. So you guys can see how do they fit in a pouch. Because that's just as important as anything. So, do they fit in one pouch together? And the answer is not really. It looks like they get in a bind with each other. This is like a harder plastic and it's smooth. It's not grippy, but it still grips, if that makes sense. They slide nice, they stay thin, and they fit nicely in one pouch. And that's a must, because you need to be able to pull these out. One's facing this way, one's facing the opposite way. They go in your pouch, the same pouch, and they're ready to go. This bar is kind of in the way. Let me, that one's in. That one's in. That one's in. Enough. In enough. That one's in. It takes up all the space. Can we go behind? Sure, but you can see where they get in a bind with each other. It's like fighting Goodyear. They fit good enough. There's just a lot of things you're going to run into when you're on a scissor lift, and you're going to realize you're about to have a bad day. Can this go behind? They just fit nice, and that's worth something. You can force them in there. It's not too bad. You can't really pull one out by itself. Sometimes on this side of the pouch, materials here, things are here. Some people put their channel locks in there like that. I know I have before. They're not going to let you do it. Yeah, it's as thin as it's going to get too. That's not great. That's putting extra leverage here when you could be putting more downforce. And then they just slip. And then that happens. That's the second time that's happened. Oh, and there you go. Okay, so I just pinched myself just now. So they do have a pinch point. If you're jacking with this button and your fingers are resting here, which they very well could be because that's what mine were doing, and you push this button when you're trying to make like a quick adjustment, hell yeah, they got a pinch point. That's a problem.